Hi, this is Jackie with Panama Relocation Tours, and I want to thank you so much for being here for our Saturday live stream. Today we have two special guests, Linda and Dave, are going to talk about living off-grid on an island in the Caribbean Sea here in Panama. But before I bring them on, I've just got a couple of announcements to make. I know many of you are going to have a lot of questions for Linda and Dave and just questions in general about moving to Panama. If you could please hold off on those until the end of the live stream, then I can get through the whole live stream and all the things that Linda and Dave want to talk about before we start taking your questions. Also, for those of you that are returning to our Saturday live stream, thank you so much for being here. I see a lot of familiar names that have been here every single Saturday, I think, for 5 years. So I really appreciate you being here. And for those that are new, thanks for being here. Please subscribe to our channel so you can get updates about the next live stream that we're going to have and other videos that come up also. For those of you that are new also, just to let you know, my name's Jackie Lang, the owner of Panama Relocation Tours. And since 2010, we've been offering all-inclusive tours all across Panama to show people what it's like to live in this beautiful country, all while educating you about the right way to move here, how to get a visa, how to get your pet here, how to buy a car, how to find a rental, all those important things that you need to know when you move to a new town or a new country. We've helped thousands of people move to Panama. We also, for people that don't want to do tours, we have something called our online guide, which is like a home study course about how to move to Panama the right way. You can see details about both the tours and the online guide on our website at Panama Relocation Tours. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest on. So right here, so Dave and Linda, hi, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having us, Jackie.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you start out with just telling a little bit about your background. I did a preliminary that you're from British Columbia and you've been living off grid for a while, even before Panama, but tell everybody a little bit about your background.
Well, myself, I was born in Saskatchewan, a dirt farmer. My family were all dirt farmers. Moved to British Columbia when I was 10 years old. Lived in Surrey, a little municipality, whatever, for a living. I became a welder fabricator. I raced cars for about 25 years, started owning my own business, so on. Got kind of stressed out and decided to move to the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia and become a shellfish farmer. So I had to re-educate myself on everything, of course. I took a bunch of courses. Started in that business. That's where I met Linda. She was my competing farmer, and I'll let her explain her.
The way to take out the competition is hook up together, right?
That's right. It was a whatever hostile takeover, I think. So Linda will tell her story.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I started out as also born on the prairies, but then went sailing for the first 6 years of my relationship, and then bought property and became also a shellfish farmer. So we pretty much pioneered the oyster industry in our area. And then my partner of 40 years passed away, and I eventually sold my farm and started dating Dave, and then we bought a catamaran in Florida and started sailing the Caribbean on our way to Bocas del Toro, which he thought would be the ideal place to retire.
Mm-hmm. So why Panama? I'm sure that you've checked out some other countries also, but what attracted you to Panama?
Well, years and years, I study everything to access or try to, internet, and they're not allowed to lie on the internet. So I was attracted. We live in a second biggest marine park in the world where we live, just Desolation Sound. It's an archipelago of thousands of islands. You can do day sails, you can anchor anywhere. And I was kind of shocked when we started sailing the Caribbean that there's nowhere to anchor that I'm used to. And people are saying, yeah, it's not too bad here. It only blows like 30 knots. Great anchorage. And I'm thinking, this is nuts. So then I started researching even more. And this little archipelago around Bocas, 5 main islands and maybe hundreds of little islands, is about the only thing that's comparable with where we live. And for me, it's my style of sailing. It's short, long, whatever you want. It's a bit of a trap here. The winds don't let you leave. So it's kind of like Hotel California. But the waters are pristine. The coral is excellent. This is one beautiful place. The entire country is beautiful. We have to see more of the rest of the country. But the original plan 5 years ago was to make our way here. We actually ended up selling the boat in Rio Dulce after a few attempts and bailed out to be in Bocas a couple of years earlier. So we ended up selling the boat in Rio Dulce, and then it's like, well, let's get on a plane and then fly to Bocas. I'm not giving up on this yet. So that's kind of how it started. And
I have a friend that has a charter he runs charters in the Virgin Islands, but in hurricane season, he always heads to Bocas del Toro and, leaves his boat in Bocas del Toro. So having a place where you can enjoy boating, sailing, all those things, but you don't have to worry about hurricanes is a big, big plus for the Bocas del Toro area and Panama in general.
I think it's going to be even bigger and bigger every year. It's underdeveloped in the sailing community. There's a lot of sailboats here, without a doubt. And there's a multitude of small marinas, 3 fairly big ones. But it's compared to Rio Dulce, which is kind of like the mecca to get out of the hurricane zone in Guatemala. It's the entire city revolves around cruisers. Now it's different here because there's more things to offer people than just the boating cruising community. But this place could be expanded, and I think it'll be forced to be expanded in the boating world just because of the no hurricane thing. You can't get insurance, you can't store your boat. There's very, very few select areas. This place is so well suited for that. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and not just boating, but living in a place where you don't have to worry about hurricanes heading straight at you, whether you have a boat or not. Just living there and having a house, it's a big plus for the Bocas del Toro area.
Without a doubt, it's the wildlife, the whatever, the scenery, the temperature. Maybe it's a wee bit hot for some people. It's fairly warm here.
Right.
But it's gorgeous. So we're actually we're 5 main islands. We're actually on the mainland. We stare at all the other islands or whatever, so we can actually get on a bus and go to Panama City, David, whatever. So
you're not on one of the islands. You live on the mainland.
We live on the mainland, but no one would ever know that. It looks like we're in the mangroves with a ton of little islands all around us and everything. That's what it looks like, but we're actually the main.
Well, then you don't have to deal with a ferry to get your car back to the mainland if you wanted to drive to David or Boquete or wherever that you want to go. That's one of the drawbacks. It's beautiful to live on the islands, but one of the drawbacks is if you have a car and you want to go to the mainland, you either have to take a water taxi to get to a bus or a shuttle that's going to take you to David, or you have to wait for the ferry when you can get your car on the ferry to get it back to the mainland so that you can go to other places. So I didn't know that you lived on the mainland, so now I do.
Yeah, it was one of the selling features for Linda because she's been living remote for, like I say, 45 years, and she always kind of compared it to a hostage taking incident or whatever, being held hostage by the weather. But this place is like, well, we've got 2 options. If it's too windy to boat, we could actually drive out or whatever. So
how the main island there is Isla Colon, and that seems to be where a lot of the restaurants and grocery stores and just the crowds are. So you're away from the crowd, which is really a good thing. I know I'm the same way. I tried to avoid downtown Boquete. There's just too many people and it's too crowded. There's no parking places. So I tried to avoid it. So I'm the same way. I'd rather be further away. But how far are you, if you needed to go into the to Isla Colon for things, how far of a boat ride is that for you?
So Isla Colon is about 10 nautical miles. So the speed that we travel is about a half an hour. El Morante is about 20 minutes or a little under. It's about 7 miles away. So it's close enough. I mean, if you wanted to drive like a maniac, you could probably get there in 20 minutes to Isla Colon. You could 12 minutes to El Morante, but we're old. We drive slow.
We go there to shop just about every week. Pretty much every week we go into Bocas Town. But we could also easily drive about the same length of time or a little shorter and shop in El Morante or Changanola.
Yeah. Or is Cherokee Grande, is that very far for you?
It's about an hour to the south. And it's
yeah,
about an hour to the
yeah, going the other way is faster. So what's the name of the town that you live in? I know it's the Bocas del Toro province, but what area do you live in?
So that's a real good question. We live in a tiny little village with about 20 or so Panamanian local fishermen. And I don't know in year two what the name of the village is. Everyone just calls it Tierra Oscura. And that's what we're called. But I mean, the entire area is Tierra Oscura.
That's the peninsula.
But so it's called Tierra Oscura. Now, the actual village must have a name, but my Spanish isn't good enough.
Yeah. 1 second. Somebody wanted me to give him a call, and I told him I'm on a live stream, so I can't call him right now. It happens all day, every day. So whenever you moved there, was the house that you moved into, did it already exist, or did you build something there?
No, we had the opportunity to rent this house. When we first flew into Bocas with no plans, we got a hotel for the first 10 days, and then we stayed in a house on Solarte for about 6 weeks. And then finally, there's very few rental places in this area, but we finally were able to rent this house for 3 months, which was the rest of our season. But then before we had to fly home, Dave decided he better buy it because it wasn't going to last very long on the market.
We had absolutely the number one rule when we got here last year, or whatever, was we're not buying a house in year one. Sticking with your theory, which is a very sound advice, believe me. But then we're kind of landscapers, gardeners, and I like doing a lot of mechanicking and shop work, woodwork, whatever. This house just happened to be the old growth trees, the hill that we're up off the water, probably 100 or so feet. I've got a 1,600 square foot workshop underneath, polished concrete. It's a Deltec built home. So I don't know how many, homes you look at or whatever in Panama, but this has a full set of American blueprints, every floor joist, everything, all the concrete footings, how deep they are, et cetera, et cetera. So, and Deltec homes are like a hurricane proof house, which is, there's no hurricanes here, but it just stands for the quality of the build. So we just thought we could look at it, for another 4 or 5 years, and I don't think we're going to find this.
Probably wouldn't find it. Yeah, sometimes you just know. By the way, if people want to see what this house looks like a little bit more, if you go to our website, Panama Relocation Tours, if you click on the link that's resources and then click on rentals, at the very bottom of the rental page, their house is actually for rent later on. So you can see what the house looks like and read a little bit more about the property. So whenever I updated that rentals page, I just went searching all over the internet looking for properties that I could put up in different areas to give you a sample of what some rentals look like. And I found theirs and put it up. And then Linda contacted me and said, "Thank you so much for putting our rental on your page." I didn't ask them for permission. I just put it on there with a link to where you could get some more information. So it worked out. That's how we connected. I didn't know them before I put the link to their rental up there. So your house is going to be, a lot of Canadians, they stay in Panama part of the year, and then they go back to Canada to take care of some other things. They come to Panama part of the year, snowbirding, as we call it. So you're going to be going back to Panama, back to Canada pretty soon, and then your house is going to be for rent. So tell us about the rental aspect of your property, if someone was interested in it.
So it'll be available April, and I think at the present we're thinking April till November, and then we'll be back here. I mean, everything's a wee bit negotiable. There's a nice dock and a boathouse. I have 2 boats. There's a small possibility that one may be included, but as
That would depend on the person's skill level, if they were able to operate the boat safely, or they could buy their own boat, or they could just travel by road.
Are there water taxis come to your area, or can you call a water taxi to just come over and pick you up, right?
Absolutely. Water taxi come to the area. There's a bus that comes to a bus stop about 50 feet from our front door. There's private cars, private taxis from Almirante that come here. If you call them, we've got the driveway and parking lot can probably hold 10 cars. It's quite extensive. It's a fenced property, chain link fence around it. It's got a casita, quite a nice casita with a live-in caretaker that works 2 or 3 days a week, just cutting lawn actually, which there's a lot of lawn here.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of fruit trees, pineapples, bananas, limes, lemons, coconut, the Chanel Liang tree. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, which is make Chanel perfume out of. It's amazing. I'm not a perfume guy, but it smells pretty awesome. Linda put in a fish pond, so we've got stuff growing in there. We're trying to attract a caiman, but we haven't got a caiman yet. But we've got our friend from Dolphin Bay has one, and he says, "Oh, if you have got a freshwater pond, he'll come." So I'm still waiting. We'll see.
So the house is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's 2,600 square feet, 16 sided in the back, and it's all open concept and balconies.
It's got a balcony on 2 of the bedrooms, have their own private balconies, 2 king size, 1 queen size bed, 2 full bathrooms, tile floors, new refrigerator. I'm just putting in new sinks and taps and all that. Everything in the house is in very good condition, but it was built 14 years ago. So, style change a little bit, this and that. So we're just trying to more or less reclaim the ground, which we've done an amazing job in the last year. And our caretaker has also helped out there a lot. And then we're just doing some cosmetic things.
And a pool. And we're putting in a pool.
The major thing, we're putting in a swimming pool. Yeah. So kind of a 16 by 10, so nothing huge, but a fiberglass pool.
It should arrive next Wednesday.
And deck, so it'll be a great place to very private.
A beautiful view of the water from your house also. You think maybe you could turn your computer around a little bit and show people the view?
I'll give it a whirl.
See if it'll work. Check that out, everybody. Think you'd like to wake up to that view? It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll see if we can get it or even in the picture, I think.
So once again, if anybody is interested in renting this property, if you go to our website, Panama Relocation Tours, there's a link at the top that says resources. If you click on that, the drop-down menu says rentals, and their rental ad is at the very bottom, along with their contact information, phone numbers, emails, all those things, so you can reach them with a little bit more information. So if someone were to, let's say if someone were to come in to bring their boat into Bocas, just like you were planning on bringing your boat whenever you came here, is there a place on your property? Do you have a dock where they could park their boat? I don't know if it's called park your boat. I don't know boating terminology, but is there a place where they could have their boat parked close to your property?
Absolutely. So when we leave in April, I'll take both of my boats out of the water so they can park their boat inside the boathouse, which is on the dock. And there's room enough there for probably 6 boats, maybe more, and
Well, a sailboat wouldn't fit inside the boathouse.
a sailboat will not fit inside the
But it
boathouse.
could anchor right in front of the bay.
Yeah, if it was
Yeah.
a sailboat, they could anchor
Yeah.
right in front of our bay, very protected, but not on the dock. They would have to dinghy back and forth. Our dock is probably in about 4 feet of water, so probably not deep enough for a sailboat.
Well, when you guys came to Bocas del Toro, you absolutely did. I mean, you did buy a house pretty soon after you got there, but you played the field a little bit and you rented in a couple of different places. And that's something that we always advise people to do is don't come there, go out the first day or two with a real estate agent and start looking at properties and buy something right away. But, live on this island, live on the Isla Colón, live on the mainland, live in a couple of different places, and you'll just get a feel for what feels right, what amenities are available. And, there's a lot of people want to live on Isla Colón or Bocas Town, but that place can get pretty loud in the downtown area. Yeah, it can get pretty loud in the downtown area. Now, if you're a party animal, you won't mind that one bit. You'll be right in the middle of it. But if you'd like to have some peace and quiet, that might not be the right place for you. So to know, and that's the same for any town. And same thing, some people say they want to live in downtown Boquete. Well, it can get really loud and crowded and noisy in downtown Boquete. So I live, 15 minutes away from downtown, and I prefer it that way. But you won't know, you might think you want to live where the action is until you've actually lived there and experienced it, then you might change your mind. So renting a house for short term like this from April to November is a great way to give the Bocas del Toro area a test drive to see if it's right for you.
Absolutely. And one of the greatest things that we did immediately, the first thing we did was bought a boat. I'm very used to boating, so is Linda. So that's the first thing we did, because you could certainly get a water taxi to go and visit wherever. But if you own a boat and you can just spend every day going to every little island,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much better, because you do have to educate yourself. Just like you say in all of your talks, every mile you go can be totally different atmosphere.
Yeah.
So around here, within 2 miles of us, there's probably 50 expats. So it's kind of almost too bad, because it's not helping my Spanish. I mean, everybody speaks English, and it's like old week. But it's a great community. No one's right beside you or anything, but it's a lot of expats, and there's a lot of locals too.
How hard is it to buy a boat there? If you got there and you were not living on the mainland and didn't have a car, and you just want to have a boat to be able to explore the area, how hard is it or complicated? What's the process for buying a boat?
The process for buying a boat, especially if you know anything about boats, which would be a big plus, because it's like buying a used car. Everyone's got their boat for sale, but most of the time there's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also selling a couple of boats if you're interested.
We advertised that we wanted a boat, and we immediately that day had half a dozen different contacts, and within a week, Dave had chosen the one he wanted. He paid $5,500, I guess, for what it was, an 18-foot panga with an outboard and a canopy, but there was, it was anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
The range of choices, and people were mostly willing to come and show us, or in the end, we actually got a water taxi and went out to the place, the boat that he eventually bought.
It seems to be pretty good if you post ads. Seems more effective than looking for sale signs. It would be kind of like looking for a rent sign. You're not going to see one. So
right.
You've got to kind of.
A lot of it's word. Yeah, a lot of things in Panama, it's just word of mouth. You're not going to find it. It's not going to be advertised on Facebook. There's not going to be like boats for sale on Bocas website. There might be one, but the best deals are always the one that are just word of mouth, that you hear about somebody that they're upgrading, getting a different boat, or they're moving back to wherever, or they decided to move to Panama City. or whatever, but word of mouth is the best way to find rentals, is the best way to find a house for sale, is the best way to find a boat, a car, or any of those things here in Panama.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because there are several properties just coming up for sale that we have heard about through the grapevine, but they're not listed anywhere yet. And they're, that's once you are living here, that's when you find the best deals and places that are not even advertised anywhere else.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to open it up for some questions from our audience. If anybody has a question for Dave and Linda about living off grid and living in Bocas del Toro, you're welcome to post your questions. Please put 3 question marks in front of it so I can easily identify it as a question. Just any questions about Bocas del Toro. So I know one question that people have asked me a lot is, if you have solar power, primarily, are you still connected to the grid just in case your solar doesn't work? Or are you just intentionally not connected to the grid at all?
So at the moment where we are, and this entire area, there is no power unless you're in Bocas Town or Almirante.
Okay.
No power offered now. There's a brand new road that's just finished up. They just put the white lines and so on a week or so ago, and they are putting up power lines. So I believe there will be power here quite soon. But to answer your question, you can have solar power just because you choose it and be hooked up to the grid. Absolutely, that would be the best possible scenario.
As a backup.
Yeah, as a backup, and I'm not sure Panama offers it, but most places do. If you generate more power than you use, you can sell it through the power lines back to the community. And as far as I know, Panama electricity is somewhat expensive, so that could work out well too. And solar panels, I've got a story about 20 years ago when I bought panels compared to what you buy now. I probably paid 600% more 20 years ago than what you get now. So Solar is getting so cheap, it's amazing.
Okay, did you install the solar? The solar was already there when you bought the house, right?
The solar was already on this property when I bought it. I just 6 months ago bought all brand new batteries and updated the batteries. That's something you have to do every 6, 7, 8 years. On lead acid batteries, which is what I'm on. I'm not on lithium yet. I didn't see how that works out, but so I did not install what's here. I am revamping and improving it, but it was already here. Yes.
Yeah. So what about internet? Do you have like Starlink, or what kind of internet service do you have there?
So we have Bahia Net here. It's got a tower that we look at straight across on an island. And this particular home, we supply, we're a transmitter to the village next door. So our internet is free from the government.
Okay.
So
and yes, we do have hot water. We have propane on-demand hot water to all the sinks and showers.
Mm-hmm. So you do have hot water. And someone asked, how far away from a doctor or hospital in case there was an emergency?
There's a brand new hospital just opened in Almirante, so that is about 25 minutes.
Yeah, 25 minutes by taxi. So
taxi, yeah.
15 or 20 minutes by boat if you're in trouble. It's a beautiful hospital. It just opened like 2 weeks ago. It's gorgeous.
Okay. And, they have a new hospital just so everybody knows, there's a new hospital on the main island on Isla Colón. There's a new hospital. So someone wants to know if there's a cheap place to dock a 34-foot sailboat with 6-foot draft. I'm sure you'll know what he's talking about.
Yep. There's several marinas. There's one in Discovery Bay. It's called Solarte Marina, I believe. Some young people just bought it about 7 months ago, updated it. It's supposed to be the most reasonable. We lived in the marina for a while, so I know it quite well. It's quite nice, very protected. So Solarte Marina, that's the place I would check out. Also, Bocas Marina it's got a beautiful restaurant, extremely nice staff. I don't know their prices, but everyone says it's reasonable. You can anchor, of course, anywhere, but if you want to leave your boat, you want a marina that will check on it and so on. So Solarte and Bocas Marina there's several more, but those are the two that I would vouch for. There's Red Frog Marina for people with big wallets. So that's also a nice option.
Okay, and how's the fishing there? You go fishing?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I moved here also. And my fishing record is bad because I don't go fishing. I don't know what the deal is. I don't have time. I'm doing something else. I'm embarrassed. The fishing is
The fishing is good here. We just don't get out often enough.
Yeah, I mean, everyone all the natives in their cayucos, they're all catching fish right in front of my eyes. And it's like, I don't have time to go fishing.
Well, that's the bad thing about being a snowbird is that you're only there for a certain amount of time. And when you're there, you got this honeydew list and that project and this project. And there's not time to just chill out as much because you got a lot of projects. So hopefully when you go back to Canada, you can wrap up your businesses and you can get back to Panama full time, and then you'll have more time to do that fishing.
That is definitely.
So someone asked about the temperatures there, daytime, nighttime temperatures.
So Celsius or Fahrenheit, I'll give you the Celsius because we both have a little remote readouts on our rooms. It gets to 31, what I would say is like a hot day, and it goes down to about 28 at night. But I would say it's more normal that it's always going to be 30 degrees and go down to 28 at night. So not a big difference. We've got fans in every room, and we've upgraded them also. So you kind of need a fan at night. It's fairly warm. The humidity, it doesn't sound like it's that warm. 30 degrees is not that bad, but it's pretty humid.
So 30 is about 90 or 91 Fahrenheit, and it drops down to 82 is about the coolest. I think we have seen 79 on a cool rainy day, but yeah, somewhere in the 80s.
It doesn't seem much from the wet season to the dry season either. It's pretty much that's the temperature.
So you mentioned that you go into Bocas Town maybe once a week to do grocery shopping and things like that. It seems like I remember reading, or some other people that live in the Bocas area that live on the mainland, they told me that there's some boats that come around that sell fresh vegetables. Do they come to your area?
No, we've
That
been
was mostly in COVID.
Yeah, that was mostly during COVID that happened around this area on the water. But we've got something even better. So with this new road, we have a truck that comes in once a week, maybe twice a week, with pork and chicken and eggs and so on. We've got another truck that comes in with fresh vegetables and produce. We got a motorcycle that comes in with ice cream products. So we honestly, we're starting to use that more and more. It just started happening, and we kind of don't have to go to town if we don't want to, except so far there's no beer delivery. So I guess we still have to go to town.
Yeah. Well, you make a suggestion, if they see an opportunity, they'll jump right on that.
They probably will. I'm quite sure that could happen.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the question of resupplying goods. You go about once a week, maybe, into Bocas Town.
And we can have things delivered here from Almirante too, like if you need lumber or gravel or anything like that. I think it's $30 a truckload to have pretty much anything dropped right here in the driveway.
So what about safety in that area? Have you had any problems with anything?
We met the locals last year when we first came here. Our neighbor that used to own this property originally, he speaks very good English, and if you see any shady people, you tell them to get out of here or whatever. They don't belong here. It seems to be a very low-key, safe community, but there, everyone is somewhat aware. The new road, it's untested. We'll see what comes with that. So far, nothing I would ever worry about.
You know, I've lived in small communities where there was only like 50 people in the whole community before, and everybody, they get to where they know everybody's car, they know everybody's boat. And if they see something that's not a normal car or boat, there's like a WhatsApp thing, and everybody's, does anybody know who that green car belongs to? And, keep your eyes open for the black sedan, or so everybody just watches out for each other. And
that's exactly the feeling I get here. It's on people's minds, so they talk back and forth. And the community itself, there might be 25 people, maybe there's a few more here. Everyone that we've met is super nice. If you need a helping hand, there's kind of like a public dock at the end of the road, which is about a quarter of a block from our driveway. You just walk down there, you say, does anybody want to work? Everybody puts up their hand. So it's like $5 for a job, $10 for a half a day, $20 for a full day of labor. So if you've got anything you want done, and they're all very friendly, I would say 35% of them speak English, good enough. So of course it would be nice if I spoke Spanish better, but.
Plus we have a fence and a gate. So, if there is, it deters people from wandering onto the property.
Mm-hmm. So I think you mentioned that there's quite a few expats in your area, so it prevents you from learning more Spanish because there's a lot of expats in the area. So someone asked, do you have any expat friends in the Bocas area?
We probably have 50.
Yeah, we've been to several local parties, and there is between 40 and 50 people at each of those events. And there's a couple of restaurant, bar kind of things that are only open one day a week here and there, but there's a great gathering. So anytime you want to socialize.
This is a far busier social life for me than I've had in the last 30 years. So there's a lot of expats here.
Yeah. So someone said they're planning to relocate later this year, and they're just coming to go look around next month. Can you recommend anything? Where would you recommend that they stay in the Bocas area?
Oh, that depends on what your budget is and what kind of what you're looking for, because there's every type of accommodation and every price range.
So right across from us is Dolphin Bay. We know the owners of that resort.
Dolphin Bay Hideaway.
Dolphin Bay Hideaway, yeah. And I think that would be a great place for people to click on their website. They've got several videos, drone videos, underwater videos, etc. It'll kind of show you the deal. They're on the lower end. I believe they're expensive, like $300 a night. We've got Naira or whatever they're called, about a mile from us. They're like $1,500 a night. So
nice.
A night, yeah.
Yeah, a night. It's hard to find accommodations out here.
But in Bocas Town, there are some slightly less expensive, but the water-based resorts are
pricey.
Exclusive. I guess that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
if you have a view looking into town, or if you have a view looking out to the water, that's going to definitely influence the price. So you might look on TripAdvisor and see some places that they recommend in Bocas del Toro if you have access to our online guide. If you look in the self-guided tour section for Bocas del Toro, we have a list of some bed and breakfast and some hotels that we recommend in the Bocas del Toro area. So Eddie wants to know, what's your source for fresh water?
So it's rainwater catchment. So we've got a large roof area. We have never been short of water. We've got
6,000 gallons.
6,000 gallons of storage. You can water your lawns. You can do whatever. So
and it's delicious water.
Yeah. So being in the boating and sailing for years, use a parts per million water meter, and if you check any water in town anywhere, it'll be in the 100 parts per million. And if you do rainwater, 2 or 1. So rainwater is, as long as you don't have monkeys on your roof or leaves or whatever, we're very fortunate. Our house is elevated, has no leaves or monkeys or whatever. We put some people put bleach in their storage tanks, so we have a lot of water. But it is rainwater catchment, yes.
Right. So just a reminder, because I know some people came in a little bit later to the live stream. So this is Linda and Dave that live in the Bocas del Toro province. And I met them because I advertised their house on our rentals page. And I guess someone called and said, I saw your house on Jackie's rentals page. And maybe that's how you found out about it. I didn't ask them if I could advertise it. I just put it up there as a sample of what's available. So it'll be available between April and November of this year. So if anybody's thinking about going to stay in Bocas del Toro for a while and check it out and, visit Bocas Town, check out the mainland, check out some of the different islands, see what this whole island life is all about, it would be a fantastic opportunity for you. I can tell you that it's pretty hard in Bocas del Toro to find a rental for that length of time. You can either rent one, most of them are vacation rentals, and you rent big prices for 1 week or for 1 month, or there are some that are for 1 year, but they're very hard to find, even a 1-year rental. So finding something between April and November, which is a great time to be in Bocas, it's very hard to find that. So make sure to go to our website at Panama Relocation Tours. Where it says resources at the top, the drop-down menu says rentals. And if you look at the bottom of the page, you'll see more information about their house, and their contact information is on there. So you can ask them any questions that you have about renting their property. So I know one question came up, if someone just wanted to stay 2 months, would you consider that? Or is it going to be April to November? Because if you're going to be back in Canada, you don't want someone coming, you don't want someone changing every month. Most likely it needs to be someone that's willing to commit to that length of time. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, if I had someone that wanted it for 6 months, that would be my number one priority. So if I had 3 people that wanted it for 2 months each and it all worked out, I could probably, accommodate that. But that's kind of a long, that's probably not
Very
gonna happen.
complicated.
Well, and I really encourage you, anybody that's going to come to Panama to give it a test drive, is to straddle the seasons, because right now we're in our dry season in Boquete. It's a little bit different. The time frame's a little bit different in Bocas, but the weather during the dry season is completely different than the weather in the rainy season. So it's a good idea for you to experience both of them, and being there between April and November would give you the opportunity to experience both the dry season and the rainy season to see what it's like. Because some people come like to Panama City and they come in April, they say, oh my goodness, this is wonderful. And then they're here in October and November and they say, what? This isn't what I signed up for. So you really need to experience both of the seasons, the dry season and the rainy season. And this will give you the perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that's extremely good advice.
Yep. So someone asked, are water taxis wheelchair accessible? I haven't seen any water taxis that are wheelchair accessible.
I've seen a wheelchair in a water taxi. Now, I guess, that would be, they just took the guy, I imagine, or the girl, and sat them in the boat and put the wheelchair in there. I wouldn't say that there's any custom made.
There's a wheel it in. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what about like a water ambulance? I've never heard of that in your area.
I've never heard of that either. We have a group of doctors here that are called Doctors on the Water that I have heard of. People, you can actually go there by boat and visit them. They're like private practitioners. I've never used them. I imagine if you called them and you had a problem, maybe they could make a house call, but that's me saying that. I've never heard, that from any of the doctors.
No, so from where you are, if you did just call a water taxi, they could get you to the hospital in Bocas Town in about 20 minutes, right?
20, 30 minutes, yeah.
20, 30 minutes.
Or if you wanted a land taxi, you could also do that and go to El Morante with the brand new hospital. So there's 2 brand new hospitals here. Very nice.
2 choices. What's the nearest airport, either local or international?
So the airport in Bocas Town is is like 20 to 30 minutes away. And then there's an airport in Changanola, so you could take either one of those. We normally have flown in to Bocas Town and rented a water taxi to deliver us to our property to get our boat and stuff. But I think next year we'll fly into Changanola, we'll do a big shopping trip and get a taxi to drive us to our home. And then we can unload, I can take all the time I want, getting my boat ready and all that. So there's two.
The only international airport, as far as I'm aware, is Panama City.
Yeah. So when someone asks about garbage, how's it handled there? Is there a trash truck that comes around to pick up your garbage once a week?
No, there is not. So we try to leave most of our garbage at the supermarket or the town that we bought it in. We unwrap stuff. What we do with regular garbage, we've got a large burn pit, 10 by 10, 6 feet deep, that you burn all your basic burnables. And we're fairly fussy. There's a recycling depot in Bocas, so we take glass bottles, whatever, to the recycling depot in Bocas Town. So.
Okay. So Dave wants to know, how hard is it to get parts shipped in for your solar system? Not just parts for the solar system, but anything.
We have Amazon shipping into Bocas del Toro.
Yeah, so we use Amazon. So different than where we were in most of the Caribbean and Cuba and everywhere else. It was very hard to get things. And in Guatemala, it was very hard to get things. Here, we're just like, really? We just order Amazon and it gets here. It's amazingly easy to get whatever you want. There's a bit of a charge. It's not expensive, but they simplify everything. They give you an address. It ships to Miami, Florida, and then it gets here a few days after.
A freight forwarder.
A freight forwarder in Miami, Florida. Yeah, so you can get it. Yeah. People get furniture, kayaks, whatever.
Yeah, so they have that all over Panama. We have an article. If you go to Panama Relocation Tours and in the search feature, type in Amazon, and we have an article about using a mail forwarding company. They're throughout the country. So wherever you live, if you want to order something from Amazon or Walmart, or your kids want to send you a birthday present, you're assigned an address in Florida, and then you'd have the product sent to Florida. From there, it's flown or on a boat to the area where you live. I think there's a place in Bocas called Bocas Express. And I think that's there's probably several other ones, but I've heard Bocas Express is really popular. So they'll give you that address in Florida. And like you said, you can get a brand new mattress, you can get a kayak, you can get a new refrigerator.
Pretty much whatever you want, yeah.
Anything that you can buy online, you can get it delivered to Bocas or anywhere else here in Panama.
And I see on the questionnaire, it also asked about the solar system. Panama is excellent for buying solar panels or whatever. It's my experience in the U.S. and Canada. This is the easiest place to get solar equipment. They've got a way better connection with China, whether you like it or not. That's where everything's made, especially in the solar system and the new technology. So they're way ahead on solar here. Way better prices. We've got several people that will deliver your panels, batteries, whatever, by boat. And install it. Extremely reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
So very easy on that.
That's good. And there's not another question, but I'll just ask you. So let's say that you needed some electrical work done. It's some kind of work done that you can't do yourself. Have you found it fairly easy to find the electricians or plumbers or handymen that can come to your property to take care of things when necessary?
Yeah, I mean, I do pretty much everything myself here, but everybody else, there's 4 or 5 guys that are still in their 40s that haven't quite retired yet, and that's how they earn their living here. There's a couple of electricians, a few carpenters, furniture builders, but yeah, there's some handyman stuff. They don't have a website or anything, but as soon as you're connected to the community, easy peasy, no problem.
Okay. Well, Linda and Dave, I want to thank you so much for sharing all this information with everybody about what it's like to live off-grid in Bocas del Toro. And for anyone that's interested in their rental, I just want to remind you to go to our website where it says resources. There's a drop down and click on rentals. Or if you just type on rentals, it'll take you to the page. There's more pictures of their property. There's more information about their property there and their contact information. I can tell you that after this live stream, it's probably going to be gone by Monday or Tuesday. So if you're interested, you better get in touch with them really fast and get your name in the hat on the opportunity to be able to rent such an exquisitely beautiful property with an amazing view. So don't delay, and contact them right away if you're interested in renting that property. Thank you so much for doing the live stream and answering all these questions about what it's like to live in the Bocas del Toro area off grid. And thank you to everybody that was on the live stream. We had 278 people on the live stream tonight, so that's good. And then there'll be hundreds more going to be watching the replay tonight and tomorrow. There'll be even more people watching the live stream. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. Goodbye, everybody.
On your great show. It was an honor.
Okay, thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.